I arrived at the Urban Art Gala with a hesitant smile, stepping into a space that vibrated with creativity and life. The room was a vibrant tapestry of abstract installations and innovative sculptures, each piece whispering its own secret story. As I moved through clusters of elegantly dressed guests, I couldn't help but feel an internal dissonance, a lingering reminder of the cold distance that had crept into my relationship with Tyler. His once warm presence had gradually faded into a series of unspoken hurts and misunderstandings, and even amid the gallery's bright ambiance, my heart felt weighed down by memories of better times. Every step I took through the gallery was like wandering through a living canvas, where shadows and light danced in unexpected ways, mirroring the turbulent emotions within me. I recalled the echoes of laughter and shared dreams with Tyler, moments that now seemed like relics of a past life. Despite the external cheerfulness of the evening, I found myself yearning for a reprieve from the constant reminder of our growing apart. The art surrounding me became both a distraction and a mirror, reflecting my own inner battle between hope and despair. In the midst of polite conversations and fleeting smiles, I felt an acute loneliness. My eyes scanned the room, absorbing the beauty around me while my mind replayed the silent arguments and unresolved tensions. I tried to immerse myself in the enchanting details of each artwork, yet the emotional weight of my personal conflict remained, stubbornly present in every beat of my heart. This evening was supposed to be a celebration, a chance to lose myself in creativity, but it instead turned into a poignant exploration of loss and longing. As I navigated the sophisticated corridors of the gallery, I felt both connected to the collective excitement and painfully isolated by my private sorrow. The art around me was more than decoration. It was a vivid reminder of the unpredictable, sometimes harsh reality of life. In that moment, I realized that every color and every shadow held a truth about my own inner struggles, a silent testimony to the transformation I was undergoing, even as I fought to hold on to the remnants of what once was. I found myself drawn to a quieter corner of the gallery, a small alcove where the hum of the crowd softened into a gentle murmur. It was there, almost by chance, that I encountered Brandon, my adoptive brother, whose presence had always brought an unexpected sense of calm to my stormy thoughts. His eyes, warm and perceptive, met mine as if he already knew the turbulence churning within me. In that instant, the chaos of the evening began to fade, replaced by a reassuring tranquility that only his sincere concern could evoke. Brandon's greeting was understated yet profound, his voice carrying the kind of empathy that dispels hidden sorrows. "How are you holding up?" he asked, his tone laced with genuine curiosity. I hesitated, my emotions tangled and raw, but his steady gaze and sincere smile urged me to share even the fragments of my inner conflict. As we talked, I could feel a subtle but undeniable shift, a temporary reprieve from the heaviness of my thoughts about Tyler. Brandon's words were like a soft melody, inviting me to remember moments of genuine connection rather than dwelling solely on the bitterness of recent misunderstandings. While the gallery's sophisticated chatter continued around us, our conversation unfolded as if we were in our own secluded world. Brandon spoke of his day with an unguarded honesty, recounting not just his recent experiences but also a few anecdotes from our childhood, a time when life seemed simpler and our bonds unbreakable. Every story he told was imbued with a comforting nostalgia, a reminder that amidst the complexities of our present lives, the roots of our family connection remained steadfast. I listened intently, each word slowly mending the frayed edges of my spirit. In that unexpected encounter, Brandon became more than just a familiar face. He was a beacon of solace amid the glittering but transient allure of the gala. His presence whispered of the enduring value of honesty and genuine human connection. As we parted that evening, a quiet strength had been kindled within me, a strength I hadn't realized I still possessed. The brief conversation with him allowed me to step back from the painful memories of Tyler and see, for a fleeting moment, a possibility of healing that came from simply being understood. The next morning, the quiet charm of my parents' old country house wrapped around me like a warm embrace. I woke early, the soft light filtering through lace curtains, and immediately felt the comforting pull of home, a stark contrast to the restless echoes of last night's gallery. Today, I was helping my parents prepare for a long-awaited family celebration. The house, with its creaking wooden floors and time-worn photographs lining the walls, held memories of laughter, shared secrets, and the kind of uncomplicated joy that seems lost in the rush of city life. In the kitchen, the aroma of freshly baked bread mingled with the sweet scent of wildflowers from the garden. As I chopped vegetables and stirred a simmering pot, my thoughts drifted back to the lingering tension with Tyler. The familiar pang of regret and longing would sometimes creep in, but here, amid the gentle hum of familial routine, those memories softened. I couldn't help but wonder if I was holding on too tightly to the past, even as the present offered a slice of solace. Brandon arrived shortly after, his presence instantly infusing the space with a playful energy. With a warm smile, he rolled up his sleeves and joined in the preparations. As we worked side by side, he began sharing funny anecdotes from our childhood, tales of mischievous adventures and secret hideouts in the sprawling fields behind the house. Each story was a reminder of simpler times, when our biggest worries were how to outsmart our parents rather than the complexities of adult relationships. Listening to Brandon, I felt a gentle healing unfolding within me. His laughter, as genuine as it was contagious, created a bridge between the joyful memories of our past and the uncertain future that awaited me. In those precious moments of shared history, I found the strength to face the lingering shadow of my conflict with Tyler. The day moved on, marked by the rhythmic cadence of familial love and the timeless bond that, despite everything, remained unbroken. I settled into a weathered armchair on the veranda, the gentle morning light casting soft shadows across the worn wooden floor. Brandon joined me, a steaming mug of tea in hand, and we soon found ourselves immersed in a conversation that delved far deeper than the comforting routine of our family gathering. As we sipped our tea, the conversation drifted naturally from the nostalgic memories of our shared childhood to the intricate, often painful complexities of our current lives. Brandon opened up about his recent breakup, a poignant account of love lost and lessons painfully learned. His words, sincere and unvarnished, carried the weight of his own vulnerability. He recounted how he had allowed himself to be hurt, yet through that very hurt, he discovered a clarity about what he truly needed from life and from love. His honest reflection stirred something within me. It was as if his willingness to confront his past mistakes forced me to acknowledge my own unresolved feelings. I found myself questioning the many unspoken truths in my relationship with Tyler. Where had the warmth gone? How did we allow ourselves to drift apart so silently, so imperceptibly? Listening to Brandon, I began to see the delicate interplay between memory and the present. He spoke of moments that once defined us, those fleeting, pure instances of connection that seemed so clear in retrospect, and contrasted them with the muddled emotions of today. His perspective resonated deeply with me, igniting a spark of introspection that I had long neglected. I realized that, in clinging to the familiar patterns of our past, I had been inadvertently limiting my ability to fully understand who I was becoming. In that raw, honest dialogue, our conversation became a mirror, reflecting not just our shared history, but also the silent, often unacknowledged truths of our hearts. I began to comprehend that understanding oneself required a willingness to confront both the beauty and the pain embedded in our memories. That day, as the gentle breeze carried away the remnants of the cool morning, I accepted that growth might demand revisiting the past, an act of courage that could ultimately liberate me from the shadows of my lingering doubts. The evening had deepened into a cool, contemplative dusk as I left behind the chaotic pulse of the city and stepped into the familiar embrace of the park. The soft murmur of distant traffic faded away, replaced by the gentle rustling of leaves and the rhythmic cadence of my own footsteps on the winding path. I met Brandon at our agreed-upon spot, a small clearing by a quiet, meandering stream that caught the last light of day in shimmering ripples. His presence, steady and warm, immediately dispelled some of the heaviness that had clung to me throughout the day. As we began our leisurely walk along the winding paths of the park, the world around us transformed into a sanctuary of muted colors and soft shadows. We talked about everything and nothing, the latest novel that had captured our imaginations, a piece of music that resonated with our souls, and even the dreams we had shelved away in the midst of our daily routines. In that serene setting, each word and shared glance felt like a small, deliberate step toward reclaiming parts of myself that had been lost amidst the turmoil of my strained relationship with Tyler. Brandon's thoughtful insights wove seamlessly into the gentle conversation, his observations about life and art offering me a perspective that was both refreshing and healing. I found myself opening up about the doubts and longings that had haunted me, about the feeling of isolation that Tyler's cold indifference had fostered. His empathetic nods and sincere responses reassured me that it was okay to acknowledge these vulnerabilities. In the soft glow of the street lamps and the tender hum of nature, I realized that the support I craved was not found in the hollow promises of reconciliation, but in the genuine, unguarded moments of connection like this. As the park's pathways led us further from the city's frenetic energy, I felt an unexpected lightness in my heart. The cool night air, filled with the fragrance of damp earth and budding flowers, seemed to wash away layers of regret and confusion. With every shared memory and whispered hope, I sensed a quiet reaffirmation of my own worth, a gentle reminder that even when the world around me was fraught with uncertainty, the bonds I cherished could illuminate a path forward. In that reflective walk with Brandon, I rediscovered not only the solace of nature's simplicity, but also the empowering truth that, in understanding ourselves, we often uncover the strength to embrace the future with renewed hope. In the weeks that followed, Brandon and I began to meet in secret, slipping away into quiet corners of the city where our whispered confessions could remain hidden. We found refuge in the dim glow of a nearly forgotten cafe, on dusky benches along a sleepy river, and in the quiet solitude of secluded park nooks. Each clandestine encounter started innocently enough, gentle laughter, fleeting glances that spoke volumes, but soon, the nature of our meetings transformed into something dangerously intimate. With every stolen moment, I felt an electric thrill surge through me, a sensation that was both intoxicating and terrifying. One rainy afternoon, as I sat across from Brandon in a small, dimly lit cafe, the steady rhythm of raindrops on the window provided a soft, melancholic soundtrack to our conversation. Our eyes met over the rim of our coffee cups, and in that charged silence, our hands brushed together. That accidental touch ignited a spark so fierce that for a split second, I allowed myself to believe that perhaps this forbidden closeness could fill the void left by Tyler's distant indifference. Yet, as soon as the warmth of the contact faded, a cold, aching reality seeped back in. I was betraying not only the man I had once loved, but also the trust I had placed in the commitments of my past. In the solitude of my apartment that evening, I paced by the window, rain streaking the glass like tears. The thrill of our secret meetings clashed with an overwhelming sense of guilt. Each encounter with Brandon was a step away from a promise I had made, to stand by Tyler despite the growing distance between us. The realization hit me hard. The solace I found in Brandon's understanding was slowly morphing into an irreversible betrayal. I was caught between the comfort of a familiar pain and the allure of a tender, emerging passion that threatened to upend everything I knew about love and loyalty. As I stared into the rain-soaked reflection of my own eyes, I knew that the path I was treading was laden with consequences. Every secret meeting deepened my internal conflict, marking the subtle, painful erosion of a bond that once felt unbreakable. In that moment, I was forced to confront the harsh truth. Continuing down this road would not only shatter the remnants of my past with Tyler, but also redefine who I was meant to be. That fateful evening, the air grew heavy with an unspoken tension as I stepped into the crowded venue for a public event, a place where old friends and acquaintances mingled under the soft glow of chandeliers. I sensed immediately that something was off. As I moved through clusters of familiar faces, a piercing gaze met mine from across the room. It was Tyler. His eyes, once a wellspring of warmth and understanding, now shimmered with a mix of hurt and disillusionment. A mirror reflecting the painful truth I had been avoiding. Tyler approached me with deliberate steps, his posture rigid, as if every movement was weighed down by years of unspoken words. "I've noticed you've changed," he said softly, yet every syllable resonated like an accusation. In that moment, the carefully constructed facade of indifference I had worn began to crumble. His voice, tinged with both sadness and anger, forced me to confront the betrayal that lay at the core of my recent choices. I felt a tremor in my heart as he continued, recounting moments of our shared past, times when laughter had come easily and promises felt eternal. Now, his words revealed a man who felt betrayed not only by my actions, but by the erosion of a bond that had once been our safe haven. My mind raced through memories of secret meetings and whispered confessions, each one now a dagger in the fabric of our once cherished connection. I tried to offer an explanation, a justification for the overwhelming loneliness that had driven me to seek solace elsewhere, but the words felt hollow against the raw, unyielding pain in his eyes. As the room buzzed around us, our confrontation carved out a private space of anguish and regret. The realization struck me with crushing force. In my attempt to escape a painful reality, I had plunged deeper into a new kind of sorrow, one that threatened to dismantle everything I had known. Tyler's voice softened, yet the hurt remained palpable, a stark reminder that some truths cannot be undone. In that charged moment, I was left with the bitter understanding that reconciliation might be a distant dream, and that facing the consequences of my choices was the only path forward, a path that promised no easy redemption, only the painful, necessary process of self-discovery and atonement. After the confrontation with Tyler, I found myself alone in the quiet darkness of a late night, my thoughts echoing in the silence of my apartment. I sat by the window, staring out at the city lights that shimmered like distant memories, each one a reminder of the choices that had led me to this fragile moment of reckoning. The hurt in Tyler's eyes, the weight of my own betrayal, and the unexpected tenderness that Brandon had awakened in me all swirled together, forming a mosaic of regret, longing, and uncertain hope. In that solitude, I began to unravel the tangled threads of my heart. I questioned every decision I had made, wondering if my desperate search for solace had been a betrayal of the vows I once silently promised myself. The rush of passion and the comfort of shared laughter with Brandon had opened a door to a part of me I had long forgotten, yet they had also steered me away from a commitment that once promised stability and warmth. My soul felt raw, exposed to the harsh light of truth, and I realized that every moment of secret intimacy came at the cost of shattering a trust that was meant to last a lifetime. As the night deepened, so did my introspection. I grappled with the notion of forgiveness, both for Tyler, whose hurt was palpable in my mind, and for myself, for daring to stray in search of an elusive redemption. The pain was not just a consequence of my actions, it was also a reflection of the profound loneliness I had tried so hard to escape. In this bittersweet clarity, I acknowledged that the path ahead was fraught with difficult choices and uncertain outcomes. I understood that healing would demand a courage I wasn't sure I possessed, a willingness to face the consequences of my actions head-on, and the humility to rebuild the bridges I had burned. In the soft embrace of that silent night, I made a quiet promise to myself to seek truth, to learn from every tear, and to embrace the journey of transformation, even if it meant walking a lonely road for a while. The city outside whispered possibilities as I resolved to reconcile the disparate parts of my heart, to someday find a way to mend the fractures of trust, and perhaps in time rediscover a love that was honest, enduring, and true.